I'm going to go back to these numbers. Let's look at the top numbers again. 34, average, 9 standard deviation. Good so far? Good so far. If I add, you guys are talking about 9 being the average distance. If I take that 9 years and add and subtract it to 34, I get 25 up to 43. I get a range of years, yes? 25 to 43. What's so special about that range of years? And Nathan, go.
2/3 of the data is average.
Roughly 2/3 of the data is going to be between those two values. Remember that with the weight loss from last time? That's called the empirical rule, I think. I think your textbook calls it that. Sometimes it's called the 68, 95, 100 rule or something like that. But if you go out 1 standard deviation, you get roughly 2/3 of your data. What if you go out 2 standard deviations, which means up and down 18 years?
95%.
You pick up about 95% of your data. And what if you bump out 3 standard deviations? Good. Well, what if you go out 2/3 of a standard deviation? Oh, good, you remember that one. That's the one that nobody ever talks about. I wish they would. The middle 50% of the data is hugely important. The middle half. Not the upper and lower half, which is also important, which is divided by the median, but the middle 50%. The upper and down 25% from, if you will, average. We'll come back to that next week too, I promise. So you can use all of those percentages for free once you've got bell-shaped data. Now, you have to understand why you would care to do that. And some of you might not care, and that's okay. But for example, suppose you've got a very young friend that ran the Portland Marathon and finished in the top, and suppose your friend was 13 years old. And you want to drive home the fact that, this is a pretty big deal. My friend Trinity ran the Portland Marathon, finished in the top 25%, she's 13. You're like, whatever, she's 13. They're young and they're blah, blah, blah. And people can just dismiss that as like, blah, they're young and blah, blah, blah. But then you go, yeah, but look at it. The average age was 34. 95% of the top finishers are within 18 years of that, yeah? 18 down from 34 is 16. She's outside of that. That means she's in this weird, unusual 5% of finishers. So not only is she a top finisher, she's also in the youngest possible section of the top finishers. And that, you go, oh, okay, all right, now I got it. Now some of you are like, I still don't care, and that's okay. You don't have to care. But that's exactly why drug trials, controlled trials, experimental trials exist. They look for the trinities. They look for those unusual data points, and they try to quantify them. And this just gives you a tool for quantification. Fair enough? Yeah. It's okay. If that little argument didn't make sense, don't worry. Don't worry about that. We're going to keep coming back to this idea of unusual events, outlier events, and what can be gleaned from them. But I want to focus right now on the Jurassic Park usage of standard deviation, i.e. when we should and shouldn't use it. So, I want to tell you a story. Over the weekend, this past weekend, somebody forwarded an article to me that I thought was interesting.